Good Vibes Only is here to take you on a journey to discover the weird and wacky world of wellness. It's brought to you by the globally renowned skin and wellness expert Marie Reynolds, who holds over 36 years of experience within the skin and wellbeing industry. Each week, Marie shares her own holistic lifestyle hacks and chats to other leading wellness experts to find out their good vibe story, discussing how they deal with day-to-day stress, anxiety, sleep, and skin issues. Listen in as Marie explores why, when it comes to our health and wellness, we need to look beyond the linear, question the norm, and think outside the box.
Today's guest is one of my favourites, Eleanor Barrett. I started treating Eleanor when she was around, I think, 17 or 18, around that time. And she came to me initially for us on the skin, which then progressed to acne. And it's an ongoing journey because I've always said to Eleanor that it is a condition that we need to treat. So welcome, Eleanor. Thank you for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Eleanor, you are one of those people that are like the characters that Roald Dahl used to talk about, that you absolutely exude happiness like a ray of sunshine whenever you come in. And I know that you've really gone through the mill, but the one thing that I, as a therapist, am so grateful for is that your commitment and your trust in me. So if we go right back to when you was 18 and you came to visit me, what was the first core thing that you came to visit me by? Because I know that we've done so many treatments.
Yeah, it's so basically, since I was 11, I'd been having sort of progressive breakouts. And then when I was 16, all came up on my cheeks and I did laser treatment, which did not work. And I just hearing of you, and I'd already kind of started on the journey of figuring out foods and how food can affect my skin. I think I've always been someone who has believed that everything is connected. I think it's been a long journey in terms of kind of figuring out how I can sort of piece what was happening on my face, how I could piece it all together. I remember coming to you and I didn't know a huge amount about you. I know you had helped someone else with her skin, and then everything opened up. It started off a lot with internal and topical treatments and talking about how everything you put on your skin, how that affects it all.
When somebody is dealing with it day in, day out, it actually feels a really long time.
It does.
As a young woman, I was so impressed at how you do your research and you really understand and you really grasp the whole thing, because a lot of people want a quick fix. And this was the biggest thing that I always told you, that it isn't a quick fix. And I know at one point when you came to me, as we was going through the treatments, I said to you that this is a journey, that it's about looking at your diet and your lifestyle, and we'll go into that in a little while. At the same time, you was also studying, because you're an actor, and you was going through your time at drama school, and that was a particularly difficult time for you, wasn't it?
Oh my God, it was, because that was when my skin started purging.
Yeah.
So I had acne before that, but then all of a sudden it went into another gear. It was cystic, angry acne all over my face right when I started drama school.
So what happens with purging? And I remember so clearly saying to you, just keep at it, just keep at it. And your mum, bless her, your mum, who's just such an angel. And I can still remember the emails from her, desperate messages from her mum, hinting you to be so happy and to fix it. And it's something that you just can't do overnight. But I used to say to you, look, please stick with it, because when you start, especially when you look at your diet and you're stripping right back, is that your body then has this thing called vicariation. And what that means is that either you have toxicity that purges outwards, or actually it purges inwards. So that can make you feel really flu-like, achy. You can feel like unmotivated, really low. And your purging, bless you, it just literally just purged in a massive lesson. Yeah. So at that point, many people give up, but that's the worst time that you can give up. You just have to stick at it. So you went into uni.
I went into uni, but I do remember always trusting you. And my mum, you know, bless her again, because she obviously, as my mother, was watching me go through this emotionally. And I remember even her saying, "Are you sure you don't want to go down the medical route? It might be quicker." And I went, "No, Mum, it's not the right road for me." And I have always trusted you, and it wasn't ever something that wavered. And I think that made it much easier for me just to keep going, because I did fully believe in at the end of this road, well, there wasn't an end, that if I was choosing this road, then I was choosing to learn about my health, and I was choosing to work with my skin rather than attacking it. But going back to drama school, I remember it was purging. It was very kind of traumatic, really. But in the very first week, we were doing improvisation, and improvisation is already, it's very exposing. And then at the end, our teacher wanted us to show our little scenes that we'd come up with in pairs. And right in the middle of mine, my skin started bleeding. And I was still in the scene, and I remember going, "Oh my God, my skin is bleeding, it's bleeding, it's bleeding." And I remember I had this white jumper on, and I would get the sleeves up and had to find ways in the scene that I could sort of just hold the sleeve up to my skin just to stop it bleeding and to hide it. And it was just so exposing. And I think because I always felt that with my skin, it felt like a mask covering up who I really was.
Yeah.
And as a young woman, especially in drama school, where there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of pressure, there's a whole host of things going on. I remember there were certain teachers, my main teacher at the beginning, he barely looked at me because of my skin. And I remember it was because of my skin, because towards the end of the year, my first year, when my skin, after the purging, it had started healing, I remember him going, "Oh, you seem different. I mean, you even look different." And he started treating me differently. So I was like, oh, so it was because of my skin.
With all my clients, whenever they go on a journey, I hold your hand through it, you know, so that whenever you get these dark moments, I'm available. And I can remember these times when a particular one where your mum was emailing me saying, "Eleanor's in her room and she's desperately low." And, you know, and I said, "Look, don't worry, let's get on a call." And we'd always get on Skype, or we'd always talk. And I think that's so important. But I specifically remember, because it's like you say, in the field of acting or modeling or the arts, there's a huge pressure be it whatever age, to look a certain way, to have in what society deem as perfect skin. And your skin is perfect to me. It is perfect. It just needed a little bit of balance. That's all it needed.
And a bit of love as well. I think it is so much about kind of how you see yourself, and just that period of time. And you just showed me the most enormous amount of love and support. And I think talking about how I've always trusted you, that also came from the support you gave me. And also how, even though I was purging, everything you were doing and suggesting and recommending was working at the same time. So I think if you are coming from a place of fear and that kind of very confusing place, then you are,
and speaking negatively about yourself,
exactly, then I can see how if you started purging, you'd go, "Oh my God, it's not working," and then take a step back and go, "Okay, why am I purging? What's going on? Maybe this really is working, and this is just everything that needs to come out." And before meeting you, I went to a dermatologist, and they said, "Well, we'd like to put you on Roaccutane, but you do have a history of depression and anxiety, but we can still give it to you if you want." And I remember thinking, why shouldn't you give it to me if I have a history of depression and anxiety? And they were going, "Well, it can make things worse." And I was like, "Well, I don't think I want that." Then isn't that part of the issue as well? if I have a history of depression and anxiety, can that not be factors in my skin? Again, like the negative self-talk, how my outlook on the world, my outlook on myself, most importantly. And
well, yeah, I mean, most definitely. What people don't understand is that people look at their skin as a linear thing. The skin is the largest organ, but obviously your skin and your gut has a massive relationship, but also your gut and your brain has a massive relationship. Your gut and the levels of serotonin have massive relationships. Your immune system with your gut is huge. 90% of it is made in the gut. I remember asking questions to you about how you were born. It's really important. If those that are born through C-section, there is a higher probability of acne and low mood. So all of these have links to the skin. So it's very much like a very complicated Da Vinci Code of each person that comes in. So as you know, when you come in, I'd be looking at your feet, or we'd be using all sorts of different things and all sorts of different combinations. But the core is treating the liver was one of the biggest things that we did, was supporting the liver. Getting back to Roaccutane, I know you didn't want to go on it then, but it was something that was on the table at one time. And it was something, I just want to say that I would never, ever tell anybody not to take their medication.
You never did. You never did. That was mainly, bless her soul, my mum. I think she sometimes found it harder than I did. But I remember that. I remember coming to you with these things, and I remember you saying, I will never tell you what to do. It's absolutely your choice. And I think that's also helped me on this journey as well, just knowing that everything, it sort of empowers you. Do you know what I mean? I feel empowered in my own health and skin journey. And because it's never just been you telling me what to do, it's you showing me the evidence, showing me things that work, recommending things, and taking the time to explain why they work.
With the Roaccutane issue, it's not for me to say whether that's right or wrong for you, because for some people that has helped them massively. It is a quick fix, because when we're looking at issues with the skin, especially in young people, well, whatever age, any issues with the skin, your self-confidence and your self-esteem can be hugely affected. And that negative thinking, that inner saboteur constantly eating away at you. So taking something that is recommended from a dermatologist can be massively helpful to some people. However, there are reasons why you have to go on the contraceptive pill with Roaccutane. There are reasons why it can do this to your skin and that to your skin. So do your research, ask the questions to your dermatologist or to your doctor before you make your decisions. And that's what you did. You did exactly that.
Totally. I did. I asked the questions. I didn't like the answers. And so I decided, you know what, Roaccutane is not the one for me. And I know people who it did clear up their skin and their self-esteem was massively improved. But I also know that a lot of them, if not all of them, everyone I've met who has been on it is still on it to a certain degree, even if it's a very low dose. And I remember a girl saying to me, if she ever came off it, she'd start breaking out again. And so she kept taking it, and she had loads of digestive and liver issues, which are all part of the effects of Roaccutane. And again, you've got to do what you've got to do. In this world of constant bombarding of these perfect skin images, it's really, really tough. It's really tough. And it's incredibly hard, especially when you feel that you don't fit into that niche of being accepted, or which is utterly rubbish. And it was really refreshing that to see some fashion designers actually using models that had acne, that was on the catwalk presenting their latest collection, which was really lovely, because it is a normal thing. It's normal. That's the thing. It's completely normal, and you're made to feel like you're this disgusting thing who has an infection on their face. That's not what acne is. It's a very normal thing, especially in this modern world with all this pollution, everything that goes into our diets and all the factors that go on. Of course, people are going to have acne. It's totally normal. And I think it's so important to normalize it, because I used to feel, oh my God, it's this mask on my face and it's hiding who I really am. But I'm at a point now, 7 years after we started, where it's more unusual for me to have a spot than to have clear skin. And that's unbelievable.
Yeah, your skin is just beautiful. And I always said to you, didn't I? We will get there. It's just a hard slog. It takes...
Exactly. And even now, I'm still not at the end of the road. And when I first started, I thought, okay, by this point, I'll have perfect skin and then I won't have to worry about anything ever again.
No.
And it's about learning that if you want to have a healthy relationship with yourself and your health and your skin, it's constant. And I think a lot of people are really realizing this now, that you can't have quick fixes. And that doesn't really exist, because it doesn't occur in nature. Everything is ongoing. And if you want these healthy, nourishing relationships, whether that be with anything, with your surroundings, with yourself, with your skin, it's a constant learning, evolving thing.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. We did, well, and we continue to do lots of different things with you. I mean, obviously we did lots of topical treatments. We've done the master lift. We've done sort of like plant-based peels, gentle peels, because
Very
a lot of
gentle.
people go into with the big guns. We then worked on scarring with the master lift, but a majority of it with internal rebalancing and resetting. We did the opening channels. We've worked on supporting the liver with supplemental health. We, of course, always do detox with the resonance, which works on knocking out any frequency communications that interfere with those cellular communications. And then recently you had a colonic hydrotherapy, and you'd never had one before, had you?
Never. Afterwards, I was like, oh, wow, I could definitely tell I've had colonic hydrotherapy. But I felt like all of a sudden, I went around zinging. I was like, oh my God, I feel amazing. And everything I put into my body, just, I could almost feel like it digested beautifully, and the end result was beautiful.
A lot of people have this fear of colonic hydrotherapy because of the obvious elephant in the room, the speculum going up the bum. But it's very, very discreet, isn't it? And it's done very quickly.
So discreet, so quick. Not at all painful. There's no pain involved whatsoever. There's no pain in anything you do, actually, I think. And that's always something I remember you saying is, I don't want this to cause pain, because from pain comes inflammation and all of these other things. And it's very discreet. And you talked me through the whole thing. And in the end, it was quite a calming experience, really, despite, you've got water going up inside you, but it's just so worth it. So worth it. I
mean, your eyes are brighter, energy levels are fantastic. And, and of course it does implement the skin, because you also have a hydration of all your visceral organs and a hydration of your liver, and it does reflect in your skin. So what advice would you give to anyone suffering from acne, but particularly young people that are struggling and suffering?
I would say the most important thing that I've learned is self-love. And I think everything comes from that loving space, the language you use with yourself. And I think that also then just very naturally extends to what you put in your body, and understanding that having these healthy relationships with yourself and your skin, it's a lifelong thing. And if you think of it as a lifelong thing, then you don't need a quick fix. You can take the road that follows more naturally in just how you learn to love yourself. Honestly, I think it is about loving yourself and honoring and cherishing yourself. And And that is the words you think about yourself. It's the environment you put yourself in. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's the food you put in yourself. It's all of these things. And there is no quick fix.
No.
There is no quick fix. And if you know that, don't come from a place of fear. It's just coming from that loving place. And if you come from that loving place, that I do think it's easier to listen to your intuition, and it's easier to make the steps that will actually heal you.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful message that you've given. I'm very proud of you. I'm so proud of the commitment and the journey that you've taken.
So
but it's really key to understand that, as well as being kind to yourself, is the food that you're eating.
Oh, yeah.
And that when these things happen to your body, it's not your body letting you down or your body fighting against you. It's a sign. Your wonderful body is signaling to you that it's unhappy or is imbalanced.
Exactly.
So, and also, you know, there's so many different patterns of acne. I mean, in the linear world, there's different grades, but in my world, there's different patterns. There's patterns of dampness, there's patterns of heat, there's patterns of dryness, and they all link with different organs. So it's understanding that. So if anybody's listening that does suffer from acne, you can reach out to me or go to your local TCM practitioner, a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner, because they look at patterns. But the most important things are doing tiny little things each day that you can do. So, for example, if you're female, then, you know, you make sure you use organic sanitary care, because these things, xenoestrogens build up. You get things called forever chemicals that our body holds on to. Look at foods that are inflammatory are key to avoid, especially sugars. So your fizzy drinks, get them out of the way, sugars, caffeine, all things like that. See what you can cut out. And it's really hard to do, especially when you're suffering at a point where your skin is purging or you've got breakouts in your skin. The last thing you want to do is deny yourself a treat.
Exactly.
But actually, once you break the cycle, you don't actually crave it.
I was going to say, it's actually so much easier than you think, because I cut sugar out completely and everything, but it's much easier than you think.
And sugar cravings can be born from parasitic influence.
Yes, exactly.
So these little parasites are saying, go on, you can treat yourself to that bar of chocolate. You go on, you can have that can of Coke. You're actually feeding the little parasites. So by cutting out that sugar, you're actually breaking that cycle. So there's so much more to it than just putting on a really harsh product or an acid. And what you've got to remember as well is that this mad idea that oils are not good for the skin.
Oh, that's so good.
Our skin is made up of oil and moisture, and that lipid barrier protects any bacteria from forming and any moisture from being lost. So if we have any impactions or any dryness, dehydration, that's an indication that your lipid barrier is impaired. So make sure that you're using high grade oils. I have Anoint, which you can use as a pre-cleanse, which is fantastic. And we obviously have to mention Restore, which is
honestly, it will change your life. It will change your life. It's unbelievable. I put it on in the bath as well, so it doesn't get too dry, and it's just a lovely, beautiful, relaxing experience. But honestly, it will change your life. Honestly, it's just, if I have little breakouts that I go, oh, I can feel something there, you put it on, and oh my God, it gets rid of it like immediately. It's unbelievable.
Because the most powerhouse ingredients in Restore are the pre and probiotics, is the hemp protein and the phytonutrients. So it's incredibly healing. But those pre and probiotics, the 8-strain probiotics, work on your innate immune system, which is your epidermal microbiome. We have a microbiome in our gut, but people tend to not even put two and two together. There's a microbiome on your skin, and that microbiome has a host and a community of viruses, molds, bacterias that not only can be imbalanced and work against us, but they work for us. So restore helps to
restore.
Yeah, it does. It does what it says on the tin. It restores and it helps to bring equilibrium to that environment on the skin. So tell everybody where you're at now with your skin.
Oh my God. Like I said, I'm at this point where it's more unusual to have a breakout than to have clear skin. And it's amazing, but it comes from having a very deep relationship with it and knowing myself and knowing everything happens for a reason. If you are breaking out, what's going on in your life, in your lifestyle, in your diet? I've also noticed that for me, a lot of my breakouts come from stress. And a huge part of my life is de-stressing, but that also food comes into play with that as well. And absolutely everything is connected. And once you go down this road, it's actually incredibly exciting because it's incredibly rewarding. When you start making these connections and it all starts manifesting in healing your skin and more vibrant skin, more vibrant health, that's where I'm at right now. It's very exciting because, I still feel like I'm at the beginning. It's been 7 years, but seeing the effects already that this change of lifestyle has had on me. My thing was skin. That was the main thing I came to originally. I can really see the difference.
I used to say, send us a picture every week and we will journal your improvement. It's just so lovely to see you. It really is. And it's always a pleasure to have you. I love seeing you in the clinic. And,
I love coming.
And I personally want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because when people say, oh, you've done this, it's not me. It is you. It is 100% you. All I do is give you the tools. And you are one of those people that have literally grasped the nettle, no matter how much that stung, and you've run with it. And I'm incredibly proud of you. It just goes to show that when you really commit and you put in the hard work, you really do get results, and they are long-lasting results.
Oh my God, they are. They are. It's not a quick fix, but it's a real fix. It's real. And I want to thank you, Marie, because I know you say it's me, and obviously every decision an individual makes is their own, but the support, the endless support you have given me, and I know you give to all of your clients, that also gives you the strength to be able to do it. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because if I hadn't met you and your beautiful energy and personality, I don't know where I'd be today. And so I'm very thankful for you for opening up this whole world to me. It's incredibly exciting.
Well, listen, we're both blessed. Thank you so much for spending the time and coming on here, because I'm sure there's lots of listeners that would love to hear your story. And it's so hard for people and frustrating for people to not get answers. They don't know where to turn and they don't know what to do. And I wish I could have said to you at 18, just use this cream and everything will be all right. But the key thing there with what you said, it's not a quick fix, it's a real fix. That is fantastic, because that is exactly what it means. It is a real fix. It's a huge change in lifestyle, and you have to commit to that lifestyle. And a lot of people don't do it, but you did. And I'm incredibly proud of you. Thank you so much. Lots of love to your wonderful family. I'll see you soon.
Oh, lots of love.
That's it for this week's Good Vibes Only episode. But there's plenty more wholesome, holistic information where that came from. Check out Marie's website, www.mariereynolds.london.com, or follow Marie on socials. For Marie's products, follow at Marie Reynolds London on Instagram and Facebook, and at Marie Reynolds_London on TikTok. You can also follow Marie's day-to-day content on Instagram. Follow at Marie Reynolds_MRL. Thank you so much for listening to Good Vibes Only. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe to and review the podcast wherever you listen to them. And remember to share the episode too. See you next time.